When a company wants to implement a human rights policy, one of the first things they need to do is to get the buy-in at the top. So tone at the top is so important. If the C-suite aren't brought into this, then actually forget it, because people will feel it's a nice to have and it's not part of their core strategy, where actually respect for human rights should become part of the wider business strategy. This is not a sideshow to it. This is actually part and parcel of delivery of the wider strategy, because it requires engagement with stakeholders, and that's all stakeholders. That's investors, that's your customers, that's your workers, the communities in which you operate in, and governments in many cases as well. So this is not a sideshow to the strategy. This needs to be embedded part and parcel in the strategy. And so for companies to understand that, there needs to be some form of education of the main board. And so the first thing that needs to happen is for a company like Mazars to meet with the main board and to actually take them through a module of what human rights means to them. Try and make them understand, well, what are the potential risks to the company from a severe negative impact? What other areas of human rights? They may think, yes, we understand all this, but actually when you run down the list of how the company could potentially abuse human rights, more often than not, there are things in there the company never even thought of and thinks, oh yeah, actually, that is really quite important for me. And that is the whole point of the UNGP reporting framework that we've prepared, in that we want companies to start looking at what are the risks, the salient risks to the individual, not the company. Because if one looks at the risks to the individual, in most cases, 99% of cases, that will be a risk to the company. But actually, it just changes the focus, and you might miss out certain risks if you're just looking at risks to the company and not to the individual.